Hello and welcome to Working Lunch, the Slow Chambers weekly series where we get to sit down with our community leaders and bring back some of that connection that we've been missing during these challenging times. Maybe get to learn some new things. I'm Jim D'Antona, President and CEO of the Slow Chamber of Commerce, and today we'll get some inside perspective on retail and the home improvement industry from Bryan Idler. He is a third generation slow local and the owner-operator of Idler's Home, which has 5 locations throughout the Central Coast. The business, like his personal perspective, is driven in large part by family values and community service, which includes sitting on the current Leadership Slow Board of Directors and serving as the club service director for Rotary de Tolosa. I'm so looking forward to talking with Bryan about how things are going at Idler's, what are the industry trends, and to learn a little bit more about his background and what it's like to work in a multi-generational family business. Thank you so much for being here, Bryan. We're glad to have you.
Hey, Jim. Good to be here.
So as we always do in our as we kick off, first want to sit down to lunch. Where are you zooming in from today, and what's on the menu for lunch today?
Yeah, absolutely. Zooming in from my office over here on Cross Street, Tank Farm, South Garrett. And on the menu is our good friends Pizza Republic delivered to us today. My whole staff is outside eating it right now. Hopefully they'll save me some. So.
That'll be the key part. Hopefully you're not just getting the crust left. So tell us a little bit, obviously how things are going and any kind of significant changes that have kind of been in your day-to-day life since March and since this change with COVID pandemic.
Yeah, obviously nothing but significant changes, I'd say, and nothing's normal, but life's been going well for us. We've maintained our, we're essential. We sell refrigeration, things people need on a daily basis to keep their homes going. So we have been open this whole time, been staying super safe, requiring masks to enter the store. At the beginning, it was by appointment only, modified hours, but as we've transgressed, we've definitely had ways to get our staff safe and ready. So, but things are good, Jim. Business for us in the home segment has been pretty great, especially the last couple months.
Well, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about, Idler's obviously has a long history on the Central Coast. Can you share a little background? Tell us how the business started and how has it evolved since the 50s?
Yeah, sure. That's a long story. It's like a 66-year-old story. But yeah, my grandfather started the business. I've got some old kind of ads behind me. Maybe you can see my grandfather, Bud, and my grandmother, Avis Idler, downtown, right on Monterey Street, next to where the old, I think it was Ed's Burgers was, or Petite Soleil is now, for about 10 years. And then they moved down to right where Big Sky Cafe is now. And that was our building till, the early 80s. My grandfather, my grandmother, and then my father and his 2 brothers and 2 sisters. So there was definitely a family affair, selling appliances, servicing appliances, just being part of our community just within San Luis Obispo. My grandfather passed before I was born. I never had an opportunity to meet him, unfortunately, in 1979. And then my dad and his brothers definitely had some different business sense. And my dad decided to move to Atascadero, started Idler's North County, which was a totally separate business. But then all came back together in the late 80s, early 90s to kind of make it all one Idler's Incorporated, Idler's Appliances at the time. Throughout the 2000s, we've started to get into different areas, obviously bedding, furniture, cabinetry, we do kitchen design, we do outdoor barbecues, hot tubs. So a lot of these other little paths throughout the tough years have really helped us by diversifying. It's really helped our overall business. Appliances is still 75% of it. So those other categories we love to maintain and be strong in as well. But yeah.
Well, and so interesting is obviously Idler's is obviously a family-owned business, but there's some big competitors out there, and yet you're doing pretty well. You're expanding. You've got some other. How is that? How have you found to survive that and prosper during this kind of competition?
Yeah, well, first it's the community. I mean, the community embraces us. Everybody in the San Luis Obispo County and now northern Santa Barbara County have truly embraced us. And, and then it's our people. If it wasn't for our people, spreading what we have to offer and just saying, hey, we're here for you. We're not like those big box stores. Even though we have the same prices as the big box stores and offer the same services, we're going to be a step ahead, because when you call, you can call me if you want. So, and I'll take care of it for you, or anyone here on our staff will. I don't think you'll be able to call Mr. Home Depot. I don't know who that is, but anyways, they're great companies. Don't get me wrong. We loved competing with them, and I'm happy to bring it on anytime. So
yeah, well, it's definitely you definitely get a sense, and when you visit your stores, that it feels like family, and it's that community touch you guys bring, and I'm glad to see that continues to be something that businesses can do, and it can keep them going. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
So did you always want to be part of the family business? Was that part of the deal, or was that forced upon you? How'd that come?
Yeah, it was forced. No, it wasn't forced. My father, my mother, they were always, go do what you want to do. Do your own thing. Obviously, it was forced when I was a kid. So I worked here, when I was 12, or, washing trucks, sweeping up the warehouse, all that. But, come after high school, I actually moved away, went to San Diego State, spent, almost 10 years away from the Central Coast, and then moved back 10 years ago to be back in the family business. And that wasn't a forced move back either. That was a choice and a decision, and it came at a perfect time in my life personally, and I think for the business as well. And then soon after, my sister came back. So we're both in the business for about the last 10 years, and helped grow, expand, and just try to wear all those hats that's involved when it comes to owning a business. So.
Was there anything in particular that made you want to come back to SLO, or having been away, or was what was that kind of thought process?
Yeah, it was getting at that time in my life where I figured, hey, I should probably settle down a bit. I love San Luis Obispo. I've got this stable, family up here, and obviously family was a big part of it. But yeah, I definitely wanted to start a family too of my own, which I have. I have a beautiful wife, Cassie, a 2-year-old named Sullivan. Got some pictures behind me again. But yeah, it's been a blessing. I love it here. So.
Well, it's interesting, I will say I've occasionally had the theory of working with family, and have passed every time. So I would love to know, kind of from your perspective, what's it like to work with family now? Favorite parts? Is there even bigger challenges? Some of those things that you might be able to say to a stranger may be a little more difficult, or easier to a family member.
Yeah, we're super lucky. We all get along really well. So my father is obviously patriarch of the business. He is the president still of our business, and he's seen it all, right? He's been in here for 45, 50 years, so he knows it all. And it's me and my sister, who are both parts of the business. I love working with them, hands down. Plus, they are over the grade. They work out of the Paso store typically, and I stay down here in San Luis Obispo. So anyways, we all have different strengths, so it works out perfectly, especially me and my sister, Jennifer. Everything that I do poorly, she does super well, and vice versa. So we really know who to surround ourselves with, and when to step in and when to step back. So that's been the biggest point. So.
That's awesome. And so, before, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned a little bit that you're seeing lots of customers coming in as they're working on kind of home improvement. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's seen and how business is going around that?
Sure, yeah. Everybody's at home right now, obviously. So we're seeing a ton of home remodel business, ton of replacement business as well. I don't know about you, but when I'm home lately, I'm picking it apart a little bit more at my house and saying, hey, I could add this, I could do this. And there's just more projects happening, and we're seeing that as a direct result, our business increasing. So outdoor segment is a huge one. Hot tubs seem to be the big popular item right now. People want a hot tub, want to do their backyard up because they're not able to go to the parks, do some of those things they used to be able to do. So I know with a 2-year-old myself, we're back there a lot. My wife's back there quite a bit with my son instead of going to the park or going somewhere else like we used to. So.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. It's as you're sitting in your house and you're, even when you're sitting on these Zoom calls or Facebook Live or whatever you're doing, you're still looking at that wall behind going, what that could use or that could use. So I can imagine things are obviously doing well for sales there. Is there anything in particular, though, that has been flying off the floor shelves, so to speak?
Yeah, freezers. Obviously, we're stocking up on food, so those freezers are going. It's been a challenge too, both on the local level and the national level to actually get product ourselves to sell to our customers. And I know this is a problem in the big box chains as well. Manufacturers are working at a very, I guess, sluggish pace, I'd say, but they're going through the same restrictions, trying to get the raw materials. It's just every step of the line, it's been a challenge. And we're seeing some pretty extreme back orders, items not being able to be shipped. But freezers, any sort of refrigeration, because that's what you truly need the most in your home. Yeah.
Well, so kind of with that demand, as you're obviously, I'm assuming that those people producing all of these, but that creating that back order, locally and across the nation, the supply chain is creating some challenges. Is that kind of across the board on manufacturing, or is it specific items?
It's pretty much across the board. I mean, a lot of the parts and pieces will come from overseas, and they're assembled here. Some of the brands, some of the products, but it's across the board. It's no particular one. We'll have a few items in each segment available that we stock, that we have, and we'll buy heavy in them just to make sure like you have an option. If you need a refrigerator, it might not be the one you want, but hey, we do have it. So and laundry, washers and dryers have been probably one of the bigger challenges as well. So.
And so looking at kind of forecasting, if you can look into the crystal ball, which, is a big cloudy ball at this point, any forecasting on like how or when this might improve, or is this kind of just for at least the long haul and this is probably going to be the reality?
Yeah, I don't have an answer, unlike most people right now, I think, but I don't see it getting better anytime soon, to be honest. We're just having to forecast ourselves, trying to, figure out those pieces that we can get our customers and our neighbors. But yeah, I wish I had that answer. The manufacturing, I mean, they're all sitting next to each other typically, which they're not right now. So it's just, yeah, I can only imagine on their level too, kind of what they're feeling. Especially from shareholders and things. So we're all feeling it. We're all in the same boat. So.
Well, and one of the things you talked about just a moment ago was the idea of the hot tubs. And usually I know from sadly, the only couple times I've been to the up to the Mid-State Fair, you guys had a pretty substantial setup out there. Are you still seeing the same volume, even though the fair hasn't been able to kind of be that showcase?
Yeah, we were bummed about the fair. We love going up there and being a part of it, but obviously it needs to be canceled. Yes, to answer your question, and that's been starting since the beginning of the year. Typically, there's seasons in hot tubs. I know it sounds strange, but people buy hot tubs in warmer weather. I figured it'd be the opposite. But that's why the fair is pretty popular, right? You're buying a hot tub at 110-degree temperature. It never made sense to me, but I mean, it's the way it is. You're thinking about you're outside more, so you're getting prepared for the winter when it's going to be a little bit colder. But our business has been on track in the outside and in the hot tub division for sure, with what it was without having the fair even. So we're definitely blessed there. So.
And I can only imagine that the manufacturing of those is even under that same pressure where you only have so many, and then to produce them must be, take a lot of time. Are you seeing the same things?
Oh yeah, even more so too, because it's very time consuming process, and you have to be very proactive and very, it's a long process too. It's not not quite as manufactured as it is home appliances. There's less of them, obviously. So yeah, we're seeing a very long turnaround. So if you need a hot tub, let me know, and it might be a while, but we'll get you one.
And so as part of that, I mean, don't know what's in your backyard, but I understand you are quite the DIY home improvement expert personally. Can you tell us some about the changes maybe you've done in your own home, or advice for who are considering or in the midst of a big project?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, I've been in a DIY project for the last 6 years, I feel like, ever since I got my home. But I mean, that's just patience, is the main thing, I'd say. My wife's the designer, like she says, so it takes her a little longer to make some decisions. I love her to death. We get along super well, but yeah, I just say patience and making sure that budget is set that budget, and just know to have a contingency, because there's going to be things that come up that you didn't even think about, and it's always going to happen. So yeah, we just redid our backyard. We had a good local company, Perlu. I don't know if they're a chamber member, but they're fantastic, good guys. They helped us out in the backyard, and had a bunch of good local contractors help me out with little pieces. I like to do it a lot myself, but I guess I can't get to everything, and I'm not skilled in everything, but I do like to do a lot of it myself too when I have the time, for sure. So, but yeah, backyard and a little bit of inside too. So.
And so, one of the things that we were talking about earlier was that you also now have an expanded and new, larger location in Santa Maria. How did that come about, and did you ever consider postponing it in light of the pandemic?
Yeah, glad you asked. So Santa Maria started for us 3 years ago. We opened a small location just to kind of get our foot in the door, kind of see how the community would be. And gosh, that's another great community down there. And the Santa Maria Valley Chamber of Commerce has been fantastic too. It was great. So we're like, we know we need to expand, get all of our departments in one building. That was something that even 2 years in we knew. So this started, middle of last year, looking for something else. We did find a spot, and then Sears went out of business, like all of a sudden. So it really accelerated hey, we got to do this now, because now there's an even bigger need, since that was a pretty large Sears in the mall there down in Santa Maria. But yeah, it accelerated, and then COVID hit in March, and we had just signed on to this new building, and hey, full steam ahead. We said we have to go now. We're going to go. And it's been awesome. A lot of hard work from our team down there. A lot of hard work from our contractors and different things helping us out down there. We're open now as of 3 weeks ago, I'd say. But we're open for business. And we're soon to keep our other location open, as well as a furniture outlet. We're anticipating the beginning of September for the opening there. But yeah, we hiring a lot of people, which is great. We'd love to offer jobs to our community. So we are still in need of more people as well. So which is great. It's really good problem to be busy. I never want to doubt it, but it's a heck of a lot of work. So my team's been up for it. I've been up for it, and we're just going to press ahead for sure.
Wow, that's great. I mean, it's so great to hear, doing hiring in there. That's fabulous news. We get a lot of, bad news from there. It's good to hear something good. So maybe talk a little bit about how hiring has gone. Is it different from the pre-pandemic era? How have you been doing that, and how's it gone?
Yeah, remember I told you how I'm good at some things. My she's very good at hiring. I mean, we definitely hire on attitude, hire on people skills first, and then actual skills second. Professional skills. But it's been hard. Obviously, you're doing a lot of this, a lot of Zoom, a lot of phone, but we have been having some in-person interviews, obviously with safety precautions, in the last month or two. But yeah, it's been challenging for sure. But we've seen, obviously, there's different segments of our community that's been really effective, and we've been able to hire some really qualified people from that. So it's amazing. Yeah, we've gotten some great add-ons to our team that's just gonna really help. So yeah, but it's been hard. It's always hard, but it's been particularly hard now. So
Yeah, because well, it's interesting in talking a little bit on, you obviously in your bio, there's a focus on surrounding yourself with good people, and you were just kind of talking about that and coming into play in your hiring process. So I would guess, obviously, you do have to kind of get face to face in order to do that, because through a Zoom we can connect on some level, but it's not the best. Did you really feel like that was a key piece? Like you couldn't just do the hiring over Zoom or whatever?
I did, yeah, because I mean, you take everything into account when you're with somebody, sitting with them, right? Body language, everything. So it's super key to us, and just to express to, it's usually myself, my father, my sister sitting there, talking to somebody, even if it's a brand new kid out of high school, that wants a job to deliver appliances or work in our warehouse. So it's us sitting with you. We want to make sure you're a good fit for our family, really. I'm not going to adopt you or anything, but we do want to make sure you're a good fit for our family. And I feel like we have adopted a few people actually over the years. Because I mean, we have employees that have worked here 30 years. And we're super big on promoting from within. So, a lot of those people that started with us on the entry level are store managers now. So that's huge.
So cool. Yeah, it's so cool. And it's really, again, I think it goes back to that original conversation or time when we were talking there real quick about how do you compete, and having family members that know how this whole thing goes. I will say one of the first things we got to do as I joined the chamber was I got invited to be a judge on your apple pie event.
Yeah.
But it's definitely that kind of family feel. And I was immediately taken by, how a business would do that. And how did that, I missed this year. How did that happen? How did it go?
Yeah, man, we missed stuffing you with apple pie, Jim, because we loved seeing you. I think there was like 30, there's a ton of pies when you came that year. Anyway, it went great. Still, even though it was all online, we just had folks, anyone, it's open to anyone now. We used to just be Mom and Apple Pie. It's open to anybody, whoever wants to bake an apple pie and enter it. But now it was just digital. We had you take pictures of the pie. Maybe if you want to take a little video of you eating the pie. Obviously, we couldn't taste it. But yeah, we picked a winner that way, which it was still a good time. Obviously, it wasn't the same, but it was still a great time.
Yeah, no, at the time I was there, it was 32 pies or something. And my wife was watching going, well, she was going to have a rough night. She knew that because that was a lot of pie, but it was amazing. It was so cool to see. And again, I think it's awesome that your company does it. And hopefully we'll get back to doing it. And I've lost some weight so that I can put it on if we do that again.
Yeah, remember, don't take so much at first next time. Just a little bite, don't just eat the whole thing.
It was a great point. And I will be honest, you did say that. It was very like, Jim, just a small, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to
got this. Yeah.
I got this. I don't know what they're talking about. I was so wrong. So kind of all that's been going on right now, kind of looking into you personally, is there someone you're especially grateful for, or someone who's really shown up and made a difference for you during this time?
Well, my wife, Cassie, for sure. I'd be remiss to say that. She's always been that big, important person in my life ever since I met her. And just being able to handle my 2-year-old son, who he's a handful for sure. Yeah, I definitely couldn't do that. I'm on this side. So I still show up to work every day, and I'm in the public. And I think just that I'm out here every day, and it's scary, right? I get to go home and I get scrubbed down, and it's good. And I do it to myself, right? Scrub myself down, make sure I'm changing my clothes and protecting my family as well, because I'm out here with everybody. But it's definitely been my wife. If I had to say a number 2, it'd be my sister for sure. She's been rock solid through this with school-age kids herself. So yeah, challenge. So 2 great women in my life, and my mother, of course, my whole family, I'd say, but those 2 are just been fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and I'll next time maybe I shouldn't ask this question, because then it's like when you get the Oscar and you're like, you didn't thank everybody and you left someone else. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna hear it later, but that's okay. It's okay. No, it's been like we said, it's a family affair around here, and we couldn't do it alone.
So do you have any kind of advice for small business owners right now whose industries are maybe feeling that negative impact for COVID, or maybe some of the experiences you've had that you think, about how to kind of go through this?
Yeah, if you're a small business owner, I think, and you're in the retail segment at all, selling anything, gosh, you have to be online. It's just you have to be, and you have to be approachable on multiple channels. We brought on the chat through our website, which is great, and we all get it. It goes to our phones. It's a texting platform, so we've added that. It's just be accessible, and gosh, you gotta, if things aren't going well and you're not selling anything, you gotta try something else. I mean, you gotta make that effort to do something, get out there. I mean, I don't care what it is. I'd go out on Tank Farm right now and push washers around and wave a flag if no one was coming in. So, I mean, it's just doing that extra effort. And I mean, it's for your business, it's for our community as well. So that's all. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's fabulous advice. And I know there's been so many changes in all of our lives because of COVID. Are there any changes personally or professionally that you think or hope will be kind of permanent going forward?
Oh, that's a good one. I think the patience thing is really nice in my industry. I feel like people are definitely more adaptable, a little more acceptable of things. And we have to be on a daily basis, but sometimes when your wash machine breaks and you need a new one, it's a big deal. I'm not discounting that at all, but being patient, with the process, because it's not always easy, is probably the biggest thing that I hope kind of carries over. And just being nice to one another is also a big thing, right? And I think that we all know we're in this together, so we're nicer, I think I'd say. And I've seen that personally in my own life. When I'm out and about, I try to be extra nice, to the people that I'm at, with in grocery stores or wherever it may be, restaurants. And I just think that's just the way to go.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And again, for everybody, it's, being kind and patient during this time, and hopefully we'll carry that and see that it does benefit all of us. So that's an awesome note for us.
It seems so easy, right? Like, I mean, we just get carried away on a daily basis when when we weren't in this. I think you get carried away with your daily life and kind of what's happening to you. So, I mean, it just made us take a step back and think of what's happening to us instead of just you. So
it's great. Well, we always kind of end in our half hour. It always flies by so fast. But we always come up with our final question. We want to know what you're looking forward to this weekend.
This weekend is my wife and I's 6th anniversary. So we've been married 6 years. I'm an old geezer now. But yeah, we're going to just do a little staycation. So we're going to check out some of our local establishments downtown and stay safe while doing it. And got a babysitter overnight, so that'll be nice. And yeah, it'll be great.
That's pretty awesome. Well, happy anniversary. That's awesome. And I would actually probably get both barrels if I didn't say happy anniversary to my wife. Today is our 21st wedding anniversary. Yeah,
awesome.
Our marriage is now old enough to drink alcohol, so not a good feeling.
Happy anniversary, guys. That's great.
Same to you.
Awesome.
Well, Bryan, thank you so much for eating lunch with us. We're so appreciative that you're sharing so much personal and kind of with our viewers and our members. So thanks so much for being here.
Great to be here. Thanks for the invite, and go get them.
Yeah. Well, Idler's Home is an amazing store. So if you're needing it, be patient, as we've heard here today, but they have a lot of what you need there. So for everyone else, thank you so much for eating lunch with us. We hope to see you next week. And if you have an idea for a future working lunch guest or someone you want to learn more about, send us an email at slowchamber@slowchamber.org. Thanks for tuning in. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next Friday.